Well, good afternoon, everybody, and Happy New Year. I haven't seen you since the last year. Thanks for joining us today. It is my pleasure to bring on the big boss from over at the Attleboro Public Library, Amy Rhilinger, and they've just had a phenomenal renovation over there. Drove Amy out of her mind because of all the stuff that think, folks. Think how many books had to be moved. Think how many things had to replace the floor. But anyways, Miss Amy, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
So first off, tell us a little bit about Amy. Amy's been over at the library for a little while, but give us a little bit of background.
Sure. I have been at the library for almost 24 years. I started out in the children's room and I worked mostly with middle and high school students there. Became the library's first ever teen tween library services coordinator. Eventually became the assistant director to Joan Pilkington Smith. And as you said, now I'm the big boss.
And with that comes a lot of headaches.
Yes, and there's a lot of wonderful things. As you said, we've had just had a huge renovation since we've opened the doors. There's a lot of happy people, happy that the library looks so beautiful, happy that we're back. They missed us, and like those are the times I was telling staff that like this is when I soak it up, right? Like this is the joy. Like
Yeah.
people, Attleboro uses its library.
Well, that's just it. In today's day and age with all the digital technology, you go through quite a few people every day. How many people come through your door?
It is just under 400 people a day, and that's the average number over a year. So it's like 380 people a day. We're open 6 days a week, all year long. It is wild.
I've lived in town a long time. My kids, use the library quite a bit, and it is just such a resource to not only the youth but the seniors as well. Because a lot of us older folks, we like the book instead of looking on the computer. But
I
you
hear
never
that.
even know. So tell us, who does use the library?
So it's a huge variety of folks. Like you said, it's families with young children. It is families with kids doing homework. It is teenagers doing group projects after school. It is folks who live alone come in here just to say hello and check in with staff and do programs or do the knitting club, hang out at the puzzle table. It's senior citizens. Um, as you know, we have a couple of meeting rooms here in the building, and folks from all over come to use those meeting rooms, whether it's a city commission or a local nonprofit, a lot of different people.
Well, you mentioned the children's room. Let's touch on that for a minute about all these young families that are moving here into Attleboro, which is a fantastic thing.
Yeah.
But I think they need to know a little bit more if they can bring their children, come to the children's room. Tell us a little about it.
Sure. So this is one of my favorite things about Attleboro Library, and I think in Attleboro in general, that we are a city with city services, but we are also very much a small town. And so when you walk into the children's room, someone at the desk is going to greet you and say, like, here's, how old are your kids? This is where the picture books are. This is where the chapter books are. This is where, whatever you're looking for is. But they're also going to tell you, like, where else have you been in Attleboro? Have you talked to the people at Project Connect? Have you taken your family to Morin's or Weather Lanes? Have you been to the park? Have you been to the zoo? Um, so there's so many ways that people get connected to the city through the library.
The resources that you have there, you're almost a visitor center because people can come in and find out anything about Attleboro because you and other members of the staff have been around a long time and you know a lot of people.
Yeah, so it is very much like a visitor center. And Jack, we talked about, I've worked here for 24 years, but before this, I worked at the Attleboro Arts Museum. Um, I didn't always live in Attleboro, but I have close ties to Attleboro. So we do know, we're close with the Oak Knoll Audubon Sanctuary, with the Arts Museum, with the Industrial Museum, with the Little League. And we can't help but want to share that information with newcomers.
Well, that's why it's such a great place to visit and sit. relax for a little bit. So tell us, what's next for the library?
Well, I think that when we heard we were going to be closed for 6 weeks, we were like, oh, we'll have all this planning time. We'll open up. And that's not exactly a lot of construction projects. That's not exactly how it went. We were very busy during those weeks, didn't have a lot of stop and think time. But we are planning on a new calendar of events. Right before we closed, we did a little bit of we did some hiring, we did some internal promotions. We've got a new adult services librarian. Her name is Stephanie Halcomb. So she's got ideas for programs. Darcy Schillinger, who used to have that job, is now the assistant director, and she is working on building a human library where you check out people instead of books. So you get a 15-minute conversation with someone with a perspective outside of your own. We are working on some sort of a volunteer fair for the city, so that, we're always inviting people to get more civically engaged. So we're talking to the folks who want to get help from residents. So yeah, looking at a lot of new things.
Well, I got a little bit ahead of myself. Tell everybody about the renovations. What's new? What old? What went out the door? And tell us.
So as you may know, this is a 37,000 square foot building. There are 3 floors open to the public, and one floor, the top floor, is closed. It's where my office is. It's where technical services is. Everything except for the first floor lobby, which is a terrazzo floor, and the marble mosaic floor in the historic side of the second floor of the building. Everything except for those 2 places got redone. So that means every closet, every nook and cranny, every mat. There's new grip tape on the firewell, staircases. Everything was touched. So we have new carpet, we have new epoxy poured floors, we have new vinyl tile, we have new ceramic tile in some of the bathrooms. The wood floor in the historic part of the building got redone. Everything got moved.
I, I
Everything got moved.
I was trying to figure out, where do you go with all those books, because nothing left the building.
No, nothing left the building. So the books were probably the least of our issue. Only the bottom shelf had to be removed to get underneath them. And because they're carpet tiles, it's not like cut out. Like, you know what I mean? You won't. It's easy to. We really did it the right way. But every piece of furniture, every piece of anything anyone ever stored was touched by several people and moved at least twice. I know Attleboro has memories of Edna Gillette, who was in the children's room for 50 years. We found some of her stuff. Like, we found memorabilia from her retirement party. There's a lot of things that had to be moved. The local history room completely emptied. All of the microfilm reader, everything, things taken off the wall. The contractors that the city used were phenomenal.
Yeah, I just, we were talking about it amongst the group, and I just could not imagine having to move everything. And I did not realize you didn't have to empty all the shelves. I thought all the shelves would have to be moved.
A lot of them were, but not all of them. It just depends on what the flooring was. A few things got changed around. What was tile is now carpet and vice versa. But yeah, everything moved.
I don't mean to laugh because I feel bad for you. I really do.
Well, what someone described it early on, in November when we were packing, they said it's like going on vacation with 23 people. And some people pack ahead. They have a checklist, everything's labeled, and some folks just throw it all in a box.
The night before you're getting on the plane.
Yeah, so it was a lot, but man, the team came through.
Well, you do. You have a wonderful team over there, and you got some great support from the city of Attleboro. Especially because it was an expensive project as well.
Mhm.
And I know budgets are crazy, and so it was a good thing that the mayor and the city council can put aside the money, because the library is a huge resource. Always has been, always
Mhm.
will be. I don't care how far we get into this digital world. We still need a public library, and this is the probably one of the most successful ones in the entire region.
It really is. We looked at the numbers when we were looking at the timing of the project, and December is certainly our slowest month. But when we were looking at the numbers to try to figure out the best time to go, we are the top in the state. Actually, we are the top user of the interlibrary loan. Um, which goes outside of the state across the country at about 800 items a year. The second highest user in the state is 400 items a year. Again, like I keep saying, Attleboro rocks. They're curious. They want to know more. They want good information, and this team is providing it to them.
You can see the pride on your face. You
I
really
love
can.
it. Yeah.
Well, if you had last few minute thoughts for the public
Mhm.
to talk about the library, give us some of those.
I would say that if you haven't been to the library for a long time, I would really suggest that you drop in, even if you just like come to look at the floors. You'll be so surprised, right? Like people are like we've gotten past the whole what do we need libraries for when we have the internet. I think for the most part we've gotten past that, but there's still so many opportunities and to connect with people, to connect with information. We lend Wi-Fi hotspots, we lend video games, we have a library of things where you can actually my mom just used a walker, right? She had surgery, and you don't want to spend money for something you're going to use for 2 months, or 2 weeks if you're my mom. You can borrow that stuff temporarily. We have trash pickup kits that was inspired by Keep Attleboro Beautiful. Like we're really always like trying to meet the needs of the community and follow what the community is interested in.
And the library is much more than books.
Yes, it is. And some of the friendliest people you'll ever meet, Jack.
Yes, I've been there, and I will see you later on today, actually.
Exactly. We've got the room all set up for you.
Great. Well, folks, and Amy, thank you for taking the time to come on the show today, give everybody an update of the Attleboro Public Library. As Amy said, if you haven't been there, you got to stop by. Stop in, say hello, check out the new renovations. Shout out to Jim Jones and the team over there at AACS who put up with me on a weekly basis. I truly appreciate it. Amy and the rest of the world, be safe.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.